It's losing weight. It's giving me a gobbler. Anyway, I hadn't done a monster music in a while, and I've been working on some foes for my Rest and Free campaign, and cherry picking a series and just taking one adventure from TSR's catalog, and I'm redoing all the lead up, completely different. It'll just be missing fishermen, some lightning raids, and odd stuff discovered along the coast, and then they can work their way up there when they think they're able to do the assault to prevent the Sahaugin. And Sahaugin, most PCs will avoid the water like the plague. I would not be surprised if PCs never bathe because they could drown in the shower or bathtub and their hit points don't matter no more. And they can't have that happen. Oh my god. But I have 100 hit points, I can't drown. Pussies. But Sahaugin, the Sea Devils, and I put them on the cunning level of Doctor Who's Sea Devils, and I make them the hobgoblins of the seas. That when they move into the neighborhood, all the local intelligent aquatic life take notice because they know they will be dominated and destroyed by the Sahaugin if they get the numbers. And they're best buddies with sharks. They're shark people, man. Maybe have a were shark who works with them. It's fun stuff, right? But in the water, you gotta redo your combat thinking because of 3D environment. They can attack you from the bottom and the top, and swarming around you becomes much easier, especially if you walk along the bottom instead of swimming, because technically a caster still needs to have firm footing to cast spells. So can they cast spells while floating or treading water? It is something you gotta think about, because those spells are what turn your big tides, your big set piece battles and stuff a lot of the time. But in the water environment, your casters end up being support with all the means that you can breathe. Fireball's pretty useless in the water. So I'm going to work up to a Sahaugin battle. And in the meantime, I need to work on the Sahaugin as a primary thing. And I consider them like the sea devils of the ocean. They raid, they're methodical, they worship dark, heinous gods. And if they don't kill you immediately, they're dragging you away to be a slave, to make dry works for their areas, or they are going to sacrifice you. Shark bait, man. Literal shark bait. And that's where piercing weapons and stuff, I need to go over underwater combat for OSE and make some rulings beforehand. That way I don't get caught flat-footed. And I do like the fact that they do prefer to attack with their natural weapons. Claw bites, frenzy, and they have 4 arm varieties. And they have lots of spellcasters. Clerics buffing them. Summon Shark. Cast Shark Frenzy on my Sahaugin warriors. They also like nets, spears, and tridents. Lots of pokey in the water. So yeah, that's something I've been kicking around. And they can go on land for several hours before they start to dry out and have to get back to the water. So when they raid, they can hang around and go toe-to-toe for a little bit before jumping back in the drink and swimming off. Is your fighter and plate mayor going to chase them down and jump off the pier? No. Do you even let dwarves swim? I do. But they're always wearing plate, so it's always like a moot point. Their vision is superior, especially in the water. Gives them an edge. They see you coming. You're going to be using light and having to walk along the bottom. You ain't sneaking up on any Sahaugin. They're going to see you. Their scouts will pull back, and they can attack in force. Or just drop nets on you from above. We swim above them about 10, 13 feet and just start dropping nets. Oh no, I'm netted. Here they come with the pokey pokey. So getting in the water, most players will never do it willingly, or even ride a boat. So when I started this island campaign, I was surprised everybody was. Actually, I'd started it once or twice before, and it didn't get much traction. And I think they just want to go back to it. And I kind of want to finish these ideas. Water adventures are rough. And it's a lot of creatures they're not familiar with. Right? I think eventually I'm going to work this so these adventurers have access to multiple places they can live. I pulled out an old dungeon module, and I'm going to have to make a backstory while the keep is abandoned. Maybe it was because they got overran by Sahaugin. And that could be their springboard, you know. It just had me feel like working on it this past couple of days. Printed it out. I'm going to take a highlighter and a marker to it. But I need to go find the old ecology of stuff and go over those to really flesh out the Sahaugins, the sea devils. But I just mainly treat them as voracious shark men of the seas along the veins of hobgoblins because they're way more organized. Yeah. You guys use them? You just avoid the water altogether. There's some stuff I'm like, sea elves and mermaids, lame. But sea devils, they fun. They fun a lot. Especially if you start introducing the whole concept of a megalodon troop ship. They're all just holding on to the side of a megalodon, and the megalodon's in the bay while they do their raid, and when they're done, they just latch on the side and they swim back out with it. But if you try to jump in the water, there's a big, it's like, oh, the purple worm of the deep depths. He eat you. But anytime that the Sahaugin around, you're going to have allies, because every intelligent race is going to be like, we got to do something about these guys. And recruiting adventurers to be the cannon fodder is much more preferable than getting yourself killed. And your missile weapons don't work. There's so many things that just don't work anymore in the water. My guys have taken to using spears all the time because they want to fight in ranks for their retainers in them. So the slide to that won't be too hard for them. But all those slashing weapons, if I remember correctly, it was -2 to hit and damage at the least, and -2 to hit and half damage with all bludgeoning and slashing weapons at the worst. And I lean towards the latter for aquatic combat. Claws and bites aren't affected, but if you're in the water, you want to use thrusting, piercing weapons. And all your slashing stuff is useless. Or just half damage, and that's rough. It's rough. But yeah, they're gonna watch me a Doctor Who episode with the sea devils in it, and then I'm gonna read an ecology, and then I'll flesh this out, and maybe I'll have a second thing, a part 2. I'm not going to give them the purely martial stuff that I give to the other ones. They don't use shields, so they don't use the tactics of a phalanx or anything that makes hobgoblins formidable, but they do use swarm and hit and run tactics. Because they don't have to stick around. They're going to outswim you in the water every time. Unfortunately for players, they don't use missile weapons a lot. That really falls onto the Lacanthith, how you pronounce it, in the sea elves, but they have the special crossbows, right? But yeah. You can get a little sharky later.